Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca Gargoyles Lexington Ultimate Action Figure. This is the final member of the original Manhattan Clan, and I'm really excited to add him to the mix. I pre-ordered this guy from the last toy store. It shipped, went all over the country, got to my state. The next day, it was about 6 states away, and it finally got here today. Look who glided in this morning. Lexington from Gargoyles, the smallest member of the clan, probably the weakest member of the clan, but a crucial member nonetheless. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, Disney's Gargoyles Lexington Ultimate Action Figure. Here he is, jumping through the clock tower. Gargoyles Lexington, one side. Here he is, posed up, looking kind of angry. Other side, with a more normal expression on the back. Here's the figure, a little description. Some different display options, and then here's a checklist. Every single one of these figures has already been released, except for Trenchcoat Broadway. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is his barcode, in case that helps anybody. This is one of NECA's Ultimate figures, window box packaging. You can hear it open up, the inside flap, you can see Lexington posed up, and then here he is in the package. Ton of awesome accessories. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with 2 heads, a total of 6 hands, removable tail, a crossbow with 4 arrows, then a remote control, and a headset. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Lexington. He's the smallest of the gargoyles. Gargoyles come in all different shapes and sizes. Lexington here is the sort of the smart one, the tech guy, always into computers, that sort of stuff. Comes with a wide variety of accessories. Let's take a look at him. This is also the final member to complete the Manhattan Clan, so that is really exciting. He looks like a little gremlin, kind of scrawny. Look at those eyes. He looks angry. You can see his fangs. He's got the pointed ears, kind of devilish. Now his wings are different than the other gargoyles. It's done with a very bendable, sort of leathery material. It looks like it's permanently attached down here, as well as up here. But it looks like it's not going to mess up the articulation too much. Very posable. Interesting. You can see the pegs where it came out of the hole. Interesting. Definitely different than how they handle the wings of the other ones, big time. But this is a much different kind of character. His wings are sort of webbed between his arms and the rest of his body. No, we'll see how that goes as we get through this guy. Looks like double jointed elbows. I think single jointed knees. The texturing is pretty nice on the wings back there. The detailing on the figure, the shading, very well done so far. I like him a lot. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. He looks like a troll. Looks like something from Lord of the Rings. A little goblin or something. I like how they sort of cross the animated look with sort of semi-realism. Very well done. And here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with his hands. So he has a total of 6 hands, 3 right hands, and 3 left hands. Here's Lexington with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here he is with his second pair of hands. His right hand is a gripping hand with a trigger finger, and his left hand is kind of open. And here's his final pair of hands. These are some attacking, some clawing, or some climbing hands. Now let's look at his heads. He has 2 of them, one with a normal expression, one with an angry, screaming expression. Here he is with his first head. This one has the normal expression. And here's his alternate head. This one has the angry expression. I can just imagine his eyes glowing right now. Now to attach his tail. His tail is made with a bendy wire in the middle, kind of a rubbery material. You can see the holes so it can breathe. It's got a peg that can rotate and is hinged. Here's Lexington without the tail. You can see a little hole where it's going to peg into on the back. And then here he is with the tail attached. I like to sort of extend my tail and then go down to the ground, then kind of lay it flat. That way you can just lean your gargoyle against it. You don't have to worry about trying to balance him or get him to stand right. Now while on the subject of standing the gargoyle, let's talk about his feet. Now, the easiest way to stand him is to lay his feet flat like this, but that's not the right way to stand a gargoyle. The right way to stand a gargoyle is to put the foot like this, then the toes like this, and they kind of stand on their toes. They're going to have the talon on the back up in the air. Do that to both your feet, and then utilize the tail, and you should have no problem standing up the gargoyle properly. I have to adjust the tail just a little bit, make that work better. Slight adjustment of the tail, And here he is. Gargoyle, leaning back, weight against the tail, standing on his toes, talon in the air. This is how Gargoyle is supposed to stand. This is how they walked in the show. Now for his crossbow and arrows. I was kind of wondering why these gargoyles kept coming with these medieval weapons. I guess it's sort of an homage to the Kenner releases. And the crossbow itself, it looks pretty freaking cool. It's got a nice chain here placed below the arrow. It's got the trigger at the bottom. The wood sculpting and paint looks fantastic. And it comes with 4 of these small arrows. Here's a crossbow. I took one of the arrows, sort of loaded inside. Really just sort of sits there, but you can kind of push it out if you want to. Here's Lexington holding the crossbow. It's a little big and a little awkward for him. These weapons will come in handy when they finally release the Hunters and Macbeth and that sort of stuff. Now for his headset and remote control. And those accessories actually have absolutely nothing to do with each other. The headset is from the episode Legion. He was using the headset while Goliath was in virtual reality going inside Coldstone. Lexington was monitoring the equipment. And then the remote controls from the Edge. Lexington had a remote control car at the beginning of that episode. Still, kind of cool. We have a headset here. And then a very large, old school remote control. Here's Lexington with the headset on. Here's Lexington holding that remote. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. And he's very small. This is the smallest gargoyle by far. A little bit different than the other ones. Standing at about 5.3 inches tall, which can translate to about 13.5 centimeters. And I'm kind of surprised he didn't come with Broadway or Hudson's closed wings because he's such a small character. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up a very good amount, down pretty good amount as well. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Very nice range of motion in his neck. Shoulders on a ball joint. Really don't go out very far. I feel like they could go just a little bit further and that would really be pleasing. But that's about it right there. It can go, of course, forward quite a bit. Now the wings do stretch out. It's done very nicely. I do keep getting the back to pop out of the hole. And maybe it's supposed to. That way you can sort of stretch it out. You're not sort of confined or restricted by this back here. I don't know. It works good though, and I appreciate it popping out versus breaking. That's for sure. Bicep cut below that, although you're not going to get a lot of use out of that. Double jointed elbows. They do go all the way up, and it kind of bends the wing forward. The wing itself seems like I'm going to have no issues there. Yeah, you could probably cut it here or here if you really wanted to, but no, I want to keep it looking good. But the wing can bend forward, can bend back, no issues at all. Wrist, rotate, and it's going to be hinged. And the different hands are hinged different ways. This one is like this. The crossbow one is the other way. He's got ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, it's not a wide range of motion there. I don't really think he needed both ball joints. I could have done the torso one piece and just one in his waist. Thing popped out again. Not a big deal. Like I said, maybe it's supposed to pop out and that'll allow you to get a bigger range of motion. It is very restricting keeping it that way. Now the wings themselves, there is a hinge there, as you can see, and the peg is going to allow it to rotate, but you really cannot ever really need to use that hinge. Like, they don't have to go forward and back at all. There's nothing that really demands that. Legs, complete as a splits. Ball joints. The leg can rotate independently against the ball. And then go forward about that much. Back, not too much. Single jointed knee with rotation. And then his, I guess, ankle, forward and back, no rotation. And then his toes, forward and back also, and they do have rotation. Then his tail, done with the bendy wire. It is hinged here, and it can rotate. Complicated. Seems like a lot of the pieces are kind of unnecessary. And his articulation is quite limited compared to some of the other gargoyles. Here's a look at Lexington on top of a Manhattan rooftop. And a closer look at Lexington. Angry, ready for attack. Now let's check them out. Next to some of their action figures, starting off with some of their Gargoyles figures. Here's Lexington next to David Xanatos. David Xanatos is the most recent Gargoyles figure before Lex. And you can see how much shorter Lexington is than a typical human. that is accurate to the show. And before Xanatos, they released Elisa Maza, another human character. And before that, they released David Xanatos in his gargoyle armor and a Steel Clan robot. And I did get 6 of these Steel Clan robots, because army building, that's my thing. And before that, they released Angela, the newest member of the clan. And before Angela, they released Brooklyn and Broadway. Brooklyn, Lexington, and Broadway were Rookery brothers, 3 close friends, younger gargoyles. And before that, it was the video game version of Goliath. Here's Lexington, next to Hudson and Bronx, then next to Demona and Thalog. And here's Lexington, and next to Goliath, the figure that started the entire line. Goliath, the main character of the show and the clan leader. Look how giant Goliath is next to Lexington, and that is accurate to the show. Like I said, gargoyles come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. Here is the original Manhattan clan. Lexington, Hudson, Goliath, Bronx, Brooklyn, and Broadway. This has been a long time coming. This Goliath figure came out, I don't know, 3 years ago or so, and I've wanted to put this clan together ever since. Hell, even from years before that, and it's finally here, the original 6 gargoyles in the Manhattan clan. Of course, if you want to have the updated version of the clan, you have to add in Angela. Although for me personally, this clan will not be complete until we add Coldstone. I've always wanted him to join the Manhattan clan, and in my action figure world, he will. Here is NECA's entire gargoyles collection. My word, just look at that. That is fucking awesome. I love gargoyles, and we have pretty much all the core characters. Now, stuff that we know is coming and have seen: Coldstone, Macbeth, Gabrielle, and I believe the next couple of figures going to come out is going to be the Goliath and Demona 2-pack, and then Broadway the trench coat. I would say the most notable omission right now is Owen, and it seems like it'd be really easy to crank out an Owen figure. But the one I'm most excited for is Coldstone. All of the pictures from Toy Fair said it's not till Q2 of next year. Man, that's really far away. I mentioned I thought Lexington looked kind of like a gremlin. Here he is, next to a NECA Bat Gremlin from Gremlins 2. I can see some similarities. And this one here has the wings. Kind of reminds me of a gargoyle at the same time. Now let's check him out. Next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a NECA figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale, even though this guy is about 5 inches tall. He's a 7-inch scale figure. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his NECA brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from NECA Toys, all 7-inch scale. Now, with some Jack specific and some DST or Devon Select toys. Here's Lexington, next to some McFarlane and some DC Direct figures. And here he is, next to some Dirty Socks. Then, with both some Mattel and some Jazzwares wrestling figures. Here's Lexington, next to some Mezco and some Mattel DC figures. Then, with some Mafex and some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, Lexington is a fantastic addition to the collection. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm happier with Lexington himself, or just with the fact that I have the clan finally complete. Lexington figure looks great, but he has very limited articulation, and it's like they put so much articulation in there, and so much of it does very little. They could have just, I don't know, kept some of it out of there. I'm looking at this torso thing. I could just make the torso one solid piece. I probably would have been happier with this. Now the wings, they do restrict him a lot, and I don't really have any better suggestions how they could have done it. I think they did an excellent job, all things considered. Now, the value of this guy is not here. The figure is very small, but he costs just as much as the other figures, and he doesn't come with any extra pack-ins, like closed wings. And I get it, but it would have been nice if we had something a little extra. Honestly, it would have been really cool if they did Lexington and Broadway in a pack by themselves, but I realize NECA's not going to do something like that. Way too much money left on the table there. Still, it's a nice figure. If I were to rate him, I'm probably going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. And I feel like maybe I'm shortchanging him because he looks absolutely fantastic. He does. But he's just kind of hard to move around and a little bit limited there. Still, he looks great. I'm bumping up to a 7. This guy, I'm so happy to have him added to the clan. I love gargoyles. I love having the NECA line. It is awesome. Anyway. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.